Ritz crackers are a tried and true snack cracker that have stood the test of time. Ritz crackers are perfect as a complement to meat or cheese, or just a tasty snack all on its own. From its early beginnings to unique marketing, this is the story of Ritz. The American cracker that we all know and love today originated in the late 18th century as a New England variation on hardtack. An essay in the New England Historical Society explains that hardtack, a kind of bread baked until it has no water content left, has been a staple of soldiers' and sailors' rations for hundreds of years. Hardtack was prized for its shelf life, surviving decades if stored properly. However, it was hard as a rock and not very tasty. Bakers in New England solved this problem by adding leavening, producing a tasty cracker more like what we enjoy today. Former seaman Josiah Bent started producing leavened crackers in 1801, further refining the so-called common cracker by manufacturing smaller water crackers. Bent's Bakery was one of several operations in the Northeast that consolidated into the New York Biscuit Company, which merged with another bakery to form the National Biscuit Company, or Nabisco, in 1898. Nabisco went on to dominate the cracker industry, developing Ritz crackers in 1934. When Ritz crackers were released at the height of the Great Depression, the name was associated with the epitome of luxury. Hotelier Cesar Ritz became famous in the first part of the 20th century for his fancy hotels, and anything calling itself Ritz in the 1930s was advertising itself as high class. The humble crackers really were perceived as fancy at the time, showing up on the menu at New York's swanky Waldorf Astoria Hotel.
Come on, say caviar. Caviar. What? Come on, man, say it.
Ritz.
Americans with tight wallets during the Great Depression viewed Ritz as an affordable way to get a little taste of a wealthy lifestyle. A mere 19 cents could procure a box of the same cracker that was being served to robber barons eating at expensive hotels. Ritz's advertising allowed consumers to fantasize about better times in the middle of great difficulties. Although Ritz's version ended up being the most popular butter cracker in the world, it was not the first. Newsgraphic reports that Nabisco developed the recipe to compete with its rival, Sunshine Biscuit. Sunshine's Hi-Ho butter crackers ultimately couldn't survive the competition from Ritz, and they were discontinued after the company merged with Keebler. Ritz wasn't the only time Nabisco ripped off Sunshine. Atlas Obscura reveals that Nabisco's Oreos are a shameless copy of Sunshine's earlier Hydrox cookies. As with Hi-Ho's, Hydrox were eventually driven to extinction by Nabisco's superior marketing and distribution. Unlike the butter crackers, however, Hydrox got a new lease on life when Leaf purchased the name and started making their own version. Despite their competitors' corporate skullduggery, Sunshine got the last laugh. They still make America's most profitable cracker, Cheez-Its, which, according to Statista, outsell Ritz by about $200 million a year. Ritz taste buttery, toasty, and salty. Apples taste sweet, sour, and juicy. You wouldn't think that you could make a convincing fake apple pie filling with Ritz crackers, but it actually works. The secret, according to IO9, is cream of tartar, a powdered acid that's produced as part of the winemaking process. Since cream of tartar comes from grapes, it has a fruity flavor that infuses the crackers and makes them taste vaguely like apples. Many people think that Nabisco invented mock apple pie to help sell more crackers during the Great Depression, but culinary lore debunks this myth. Although Nabisco popularized the recipe when they started printing it on cracker boxes during World War II, mock apple pie recipes have been found as far back as the 19th century, when they were usually made with saltines or water crackers. Although mock apple pie was created during a time when fresh fruit could be expensive and hard to come by, it's no longer a bargain compared to the real thing. These days, fresh apples are cheaper than Ritz.
How do you like them apples?
By the time Nabisco introduced Ritz, they already dominated the cracker industry. The Gilded Age was a time of consolidation and monopolies. American business history says that Nabisco's chairman, A.W. Green, used a combination of perfectionism, bullying, and Machiavellian scheming to take over the majority of America's cracker and biscuit production by the late 19th century. Some bakers resisted, splitting from the trust to form Sunshine, but they couldn't compete with Nabisco's muscle. It's no wonder that within a year of their release, Ritz crackers swamped all of their competitors. By 1935, less than 24 months after their debut, Ritz had already sold 5 billion crackers. At the time, that meant that on average, every person in America ate 40 Ritz a year. Ritz eclipsed every other cracker in stores, swiftly becoming the most popular cracker in the global market.
Everything tastes great when it sits on a Ritz.
You wouldn't think of cigarette companies as being suited to selling food, but according to American business history, that didn't stop two different tobacco conglomerates from trying to find success by buying Nabisco. First, Camel manufacturer R.J. Reynolds bought Nabisco in 1985 as part of an effort to move away from tobacco. R.J. Reynolds brought a more ostentatious swagger to the company's C-suite, but then RJR Nabisco fell victim to a leveraged buyout by venture capital firm KKR. The new owners drove the company into debt and then relisted it on the stock market at a deflated value. Philip Morris, the company behind Marlboro cigarettes, swooped in and bought the struggling company in 2000 for almost $15 billion. Like R.J. Reynolds, Philip Morris proved ill-suited to running a food empire, and the company divested all its food brands 6 years after acquiring Nabisco. Snack food and cigarettes may both be addictive, but it turns out that Americans don't like buying their food and their poison from the same people. Ritz might not be America's best-selling cracker anymore, but sales figures aren't the only way to measure popularity. Insider reports that a YouGov poll of American consumers rated Ritz as not just America's favorite cracker, but its favorite overall snack brand. Rather than measuring purchases, YouGov conducted this study by asking people how they felt about brands on a scale of -100 to 100. It was close, but Ritz edged out Lay's with an average score of 54 to 52.5. These brands were the only two to score over 50 in the survey. Digital Media Solutions argues that nostalgia is one of the most important factors that encourage consumers to develop brand loyalty. Nostalgia incites a heightened sense of emotion that brands can take advantage of to create positive associations. Nabisco and Ritz have been around for as long as most of us can remember, and many of us have fond childhood memories that involve Nabisco brands. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more mashed videos about your favorite snacks are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.